Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today. Larry Burkett used to be on the air 1,000 years ago. Did a Christian radio show, Money Matters, it was called, about what the Bible says about money. And he's one of the guys I learned from. I certainly learned what the Bible says about money from Larry a lot. He passed away several years ago. We became friends before he passed away, but at first I was just a fanboy. And he used to say, debt is never the problem. Financial problems are never the problem. They're always the symptom. So you need to keep that in mind, because that's how we're going to view it. Personal finance is 80% behavior. It's 20% head knowledge. So if you have a student loan debt that you've made no progress on for 5 years, the student loan debt is not the problem. The new triplets that just came were not here for the last 5 years. They're not the problem. The interest rate is not the issue. This is not an interest rate issue. This is a you problem. And John, when people get to the bottom of that, that's the beautiful thing about the work you do in counseling, with a PhD in counseling, and the work that the reason you joining this team as a Ramsey personality is a perfect overlap to our approach to money, because the interest rate is irrelevant because you haven't dealt with you. That's the thing. When you deal with you, you're not only going to get financial peace, two words that don't go together like airline service, but you're also going to get progress and wealth. Until you deal with you, you're not going to get any of that.
Right. And it's hard to sell somebody on that when they're so convinced from a TikTok ad or a TikTok's swipe or whatever, where they got the information. And I think a lot of us sit in our house, man, and we just spin out with life's problems. I can't imagine having triplets just show up after having a couple of other kids. Whatever your problem happens to be, you lost your job, your marriage is falling apart, whatever it is. And it's so much easier. We have so much distraction in our world. We can just spin our wheels and jam that gas pedal into the bottom of the car, thinking we're going real fast, and we're going nowhere. We're just avoiding.
But money is such an interesting topic because it lets us, it lures us to our own death, because it makes us think we can fix it by fixing the math. And the math is very seldom the problem. The math is the symptom. It's not the problem. The problem is our spending, our income, our lack of control, our lack of working together,
our choices. I'm going to keep these for 5 years.
Our behaviors and our principles by which, but we somehow think we can unplug from all of this stuff that's called our life and set this money thing over here to the side and just fix it with just math. But and the reason you can't is it doesn't unplug. It's sitting there right in the middle of your freaking life, because your life is impacting it. It's impacting your life. You can't just set it over here in a test tube and go, it's a math thing, 6% versus 0. It's not a math thing.
And I want to speak to the person who's listening to this, or to the gajillions of people who are listening to this, who are 5 years from today away from triplets, or a job loss, or a mom calling and saying I have cancer, or a husband saying I haven't been faithful, or whatever the thing is. That choice starts now. Because 5 years ago, if they had been hell-bent on paying these things off, life would still be chaotic. But I want people to listen to that man's voice. It just sounds cooked, right? It's heartbreaking. Yeah. And agreed. You can celebrate the chaos of 3 kids coming home, or not be able to breathe because you can't. There's no room for 3 kids.
I remember when our oldest daughter Denise had the third one, her husband Bill said, well, we just went from man-on-man to zone defense.
My buddy said, man, it was all cool till we went from man-to-man to zone. And they win.
Create your free Every Dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.